Hi and welcome to the webinar. I would like to introduce our guest speaker Ravindra Rao, Vice President and Head of Commodities Research at Kotak Securities. Ravindra has over 13 years of experience in commodity training, research and strategy. His experience extends to precious metals, energy, industry metals across all instruments and related asset classes. He has also worked on a wide range of strategies including fundamentally driven commodity investments as well as technical strategies. Prior to joining Kotak Securities, Ravindra was at Anand Rathi Share and Stock Brokers Private Limited as a head of commodity and currency research and advisory since August 2013. He also had 7 years of experience with Motilal Oswal Commodities Brokers Private Limited. Ravindra has an MBA degree in finance from Mumbai University, EPAT, which is Executive Program and Algorithm Training from Quantity, and CMT Level 3 candidate. Please join me in welcoming Ravindra Rao, sir.
Thank you, Kritika. Thank you for that introduction. I'll just share the screen. Kritika, just let me know whether it is visible.
Sure.
Can you see the screen?
I can, yes.
Great. So, very good evening to all of you. I'm Ravindra Rao from Commodity Research Desk of Kotak Securities. I welcome you all to this webinar, which is kind of a continuation of the gold sovereign bonds webinar that we did in April this year. We mentioned our outlook on gold, and today we will see how gold has performed in this 3 to 4 month period since our webinar in April. We will also look at the future prospects of gold. Silver, which is also known as white gold, is an addition to this webinar as it has witnessed a sharp move in the past few sessions, breaking out from the consolidation zone. Well, the main purpose of doing webinar in precious metal is to keep reminding our clients that these assets are no longer a traditional asset that used to be owned physically. Now, with digital form of gold becoming more and more attractive, a lot of investment interest has been seen lately. Now, with so much of uncertainty around us, it becomes very, very important for investors and traders to diversify their portfolio with gold to make it more balanced. Now, if we see, last year gold has given a return of around 25%. This year, already in first 7 months, gold has clocked a return of around 35% as compared to the 2019 close. Now, this is as per the MCX prices. So, if you look at gold's return from say 2016, every year it has given return. Although 2016 was at 10%, 17 was at 6%, 18 was at 8%. And as I mentioned, 19, 25%, and 2020 till date, it is around 35%. So now this becomes this shows that gold has become a very important part to be included in your portfolio because what it does is it balances out your portfolio when equity markets are not performing or bonds are not performing. This time again we'll be talking on basically how gold and silver can be used as a diversification in this age of uncertainty. So starting with the gold update that we the outlook that we shared in the month of April 2020, wherein gold was trading somewhere near 1680, which can be seen on the left side of the screen. You can see that this was shared in April 2020. So you can see it was trading close to $1680. Now this is spot gold chart in dollar terms, and on the right side it is the latest gold chart as of today. And if you can see, it has already surpassed that 1680 level. We had mentioned last time that it might come to 1803, which is kind of a immediate resistance, and if that breaches, it might go to hit the all-time highs of $1920, which was hit in 2011 around Feb. So this has achieved like it has tested 1803 and then $1920 an ounce in dollar spot. In fact, in MCX, it has hit record highs, mainly because of the depreciation in Indian rupee against the dollar. But in dollar terms, it has just tested the highs. In fact, it has moved above the highs. So now, in this webinar, we'll be looking at how gold, whether it will stop at this level or whether it is going to move further higher, and what are the prospects going ahead. So let's see what are the drivers of gold. Like this has been since last 4-5 months, and in fact some of the factors are since 2019, like the US-China tensions, where we have seen trade uncertainty between US and China, and 2019 was entirely driven by US-China trade tensions. But 2020 has been a different scenario, wherein there are a lot many factors that has propped up gold prices. One of the important factor is the US dollar index. Then we have the robust investment demand as indicated by the ETF inflows. This has offset the weak consumer demand. We have seen weak consumer demand from the largest consumer countries like India and China, but this has not dented the gold's outlook, because investment demand has been very, very good. Low rate interest rate scenarios, massive liquidity infusion by central bankers, escalating virus situation, which might impact the global recovery. In fact, it is impacting the global recovery. And then US-China tensions. Apart from the trade tensions, now there are other geopolitical tensions that have cropped up, and that is supporting gold prices. Now, one by one, I'll be looking at these pointers. First and foremost is the dollar collapse. Now, if you look at the chart, it has already penetrated almost 10-year-long trend line, and it is threatening to move lower. Now, this is the dollar index chart, and there is a possibility that if it sustains below these levels, that is 93, 92 half, there is a chance it might come down till 89 as well. Now, the US dollar index has tested the lowest level since 2016, now, which can be seen from the chart, and it is down more than 2.5% year to date. The index has witnessed a mixed trend so far this year, as it has risen in the first 4 months, only to reverse all the gains in the last 3 months. So from January to April, dollar index was trading higher, but then suddenly we have seen dollar index collapsing. Now, that is mainly because the virus implications started after March, in fact after April, and that's why we had seen a fall in dollar index. The dollar index rose in the early part of this year as increasing risk to the global economy in the face of virus outbreak had pushed market players towards the safety of US currency. Like initial 4 months were very good for dollar, because safe haven money was flowing into dollar. But once US economy got impacted because of the virus, we had seen money coming out of dollar, and that is why we are seeing a fall in dollar index. So other than that, if we see the Europe situation, there is a divergence in US and Europe. The US has witnessed sharp surge in cases, facing states to reimpose some restrictions, while cases rose in Europe, as well as the situation was much better than the US. Like in Europe, also the cases went up, but the situation was much better. European economic data have been showing improvement from the slump caused by the virus outbreak, whereas the agreement on the rescue package has improved the future outlook. Excuse me, has improved the future outlook. Even US economic data has shown improvement, but the labor data has highlighted the strains on the economy, and people are expecting that we might see kind of a stagflation going ahead, and that is positive for gold prices, and which might trigger selling in dollar. Other than that, the tensions between US and China has also clouded the outlook for US economy, and that is why we are seeing a fall in dollar. Now, while most of the currencies have risen against the US dollar in the last few weeks, the euro has been one of the biggest beneficiaries. Euro has surged to 2018 high, and a large part of the rally has come post EU's agreement on the 750 billion euros rescue package. So, if we look at the euro chart, you can see like euro forms a major part in the US dollar index composition, and that is why we are seeing exactly mirror image of dollar index in euro USD, and you can see that euro USD is breaking out, which and whenever the euro moves up, we see gold prices moving higher because they are positively correlated. So this clearly shows that dollar index might stay weak. The general trend might stay weak, and this is positive for gold. Recovery in US dollar might be dependent on three factors. One is the Fed's economic and monetary policy stance, some more future data pointers like US GDP, and the trend in virus cases. So if there is any changes in this data pointers in virus situations, then I think we might see a up move in dollar, which might trigger some kind of a profit booking in gold. Otherwise, I think gold is set for further highs. Now this is gold versus US dollar index chart. You can see clearly that how both are like negatively correlated. And if you see, dollar index has started falling since May, and it has fallen close to 93 from a top made in somewhere between March and April, where it made a top close to 103, and now it is trading close to 93.70, and it is not showing any respite of recovering. It might recover slightly, but the chart that I showed you previously shows that any recovery might again see some kind of a selling coming in. In fact, if you see gold has been it is the exact mirror image of dollar index, and if you see, gold has been moving higher, and it seems that this is going to continue for some time. Even if it doesn't fall much, there might be some kind of a consolidation, and then there can be a fall in US dollar index, which might prop up gold prices. Now, I spoke about the ETF flows. If we look at the ETF flows, they have been very, very strong. Now, global holdings of ETFs have hit all-time highs of 3,621 tons. In first half of 2020 alone, global net inflows were at around 734 tons, which is around US dollar 39.5 billion. Now, this is a record level of annual inflows, both in tonnage terms, which is around 646 tons in 2009. So since 2009, this is the highest level that we have seen, which can be clearly indicated, which can be clearly seen on the chart. On the left side, 2009, there is a big tower. After that, we are seeing a big tower in 2020, and the holdings have gone above the 2009 what we had seen in 2009 annual holdings. And US dollar value was highest in 2016, which was US dollar 23 billion. That has also been surpassed in 2020. And the major contributors are first from America and then Europe. And I think this is going to go higher and higher, because as the uncertainty prevails and as it escalates, I think more and more money would flow into gold, and that might keep prices well supported. These are the ETF flows by country. Now, this I wanted to show the Indian scenario. If you look at this country ETF flows in India, the flows has increased by almost 28.1% year to date. That is till 24th July, as compared to a previous year. So we can just see from these figures that how great the interest is in gold related investment that people have already started diversifying their chunk of the portfolio into gold. Now, I spoke about the low interest scenario. Now, low interest scenario is always positive for gold because what happens is now when global central banks and governments take unprecedented steps for stimulus measures to revive their economies, it supports gold in terms of future inflation. Now, the central bankers have also maintained their willingness to take all the possible measures to sustain economic growth, and this shows that they are going to infuse more stimulus, and the interest rates are already at very low levels. Like US, it is near 0.25%. In other economies, it is already in negative. So whenever the interest rates are low, gold is a commodity which yields no interest rate. So that's why in low interest rates, gold tends to perform. And also huge monetary inflows, like the stimulus that we have seen from the central bankers all over the globe. Now this increases the chances of inflation and currency devaluation, which is again positive for gold prices. So which again can be seen in the chart, wherein the US 10-year bond yield has been going down, whereas gold is going higher, and you can see a perfect negative correlation between the two. This is a relative strength against the S&P index. Now, a relative strength has been, this is a very important concept wherein you compare one asset class with another asset class. Now, if you see in 2018 financial crisis, gold against the S&P, the relative index, the relative strength has increased in case of gold, and you can just see a sharp rally on the left side. In 2020, we have started seeing a similar thing. It has already penetrated the 6-year trend line, and it is already above the 200 period moving average almost after 8 years. It gave us a slight dip when equity was trading higher and gold was muted. But since this month, we have again seen gold moving higher as compared to the S&P index, and we might see it going much higher. So this clearly indicates that gold's strength is strengthening day by day against the S&P index. So what are the observations based on historical performances? Now, gold has proven to be a good hedge during the last 2 bear market plus recessions. Like 2008, I have already shown how in financial crisis gold has performed better. In uncertain times, we always see that gold is taken as a safe haven. Now it is more viable for investors to take positions in gold, because now there are a lot of avenues through which gold one can invest into gold. Earlier it used to be physical gold, which actually is not a best way of investment because of its own disadvantages. But now, because of a great liquidity and different avenues that one can invest in gold, more and more money is flowing into gold because of the uncertain conditions that are prevailing. And also, it has like if we see the returns of last few years, it appeals the investor for diversification, and we have seen actually people diversifying into gold. Say 15 to 20% of their allocation goes into gold now. So that again shows that this uncertain times, now this is not going to end so fast. I think this might prevail for next couple of years, and till that time, I think this gold's appeal will be intact. COVID-19, a risk that is unseen. Now, the coronavirus outbreak in the like it has created a lot of uncertainty, and there is also an uncertainty about its impact. Like the longer it takes to control the outbreak, the greater will be the impact on the global economy. And even if it is controlled, I think it will take a lot of time for the global economy to come back on track. So we feel that it will be at least a couple of years for the global economy to recover, and that again might be a positive for gold, and that is why we are expecting gold to perform much higher as compared to the current levels. Again, in such scenarios, we see a lot of stimulus measures being taken by central bankers and government, and that again is supportive for gold prices because of the inflationary pressure that can be triggered because of the massive liquidity infusion in the market. Now, this is quite interesting. If you look at the gold cycle, I have taken it from February 1996 to like if we see that there is a clear 9-year, 6-year cycle in gold. If we see from February 1996 to February 2005, there is a 9-year cycle of consolidation wherein it formed a rounding base and it broke out in February 2005. And it went on to hit a high of around 1923 in 2011. So from 2005 to 2011, it was a 6-year bull cycle. And after that, from 2011 to 2020, we had again seen a 9-year consolidation cycle, and the same rounding base has been formed, which was seen in the period from 1996 to 2005. So it has again broke out of this range, and it has moved past the 1923 dollar range, dollar high, which was hit in 2011, and currently it is trading close to 1956, 1957. So this shows that we might be in for a next 6-year bull cycle if we take history, if we take the concept that history repeats. So if that happens, there is a chance that it might show a huge rally, and after some consolidation that we had seen in 2005, also after breaking out, we had seen it consolidating for some time, and then it shot up. So similar way, there is a chance that now it is trading at 1956. It might again come down to 1880, 1890 odd levels, might consolidate for some time, and then it might take off. So looking at the history, looking at this gold cycle, we feel that we are set for a big rally in gold, and if that happens, then I think it will go in high uncharted territory. Now let's look at the technical setup. As I showed in the first slide, it has already crossed the 1920 zone, and it is trading higher. We feel this month's now this is a monthly chart, so this month's closing will be important. If this month it closes say above 1920, 1922, which was the 2011 highs, and if in the next month if it moves above the 1974 high that it tested this month, then there is a great chance that it might move up till 2077, 2100 levels immediately, which is the immediate target as seen from the Fibonacci extension. On the flip side, if it doesn't close above 1920 this month, and or if it doesn't go above the high next month, then there is a chance that it might give some kind of a correction. Now that correction can extend until 1830 to 1820. Which was the earlier resistance, and from there it might take off. So I think either we might wait for a corrective dip because it is already at a high levels, or we can wait for the break of the high to enter again. Corrective dip would be a better option because and we are also expecting that after such a sharp rise, there is a chance it might correct. But if it doesn't correct and if it moves above 1974 next month, 1974, 1975, then I think we are set for another $100, $150 upside in gold prices. And as per the gold cycle, then I think we might see some kind of we might see a bull run if we see the same kind of bull run that happened from 2005 to 2011. Then we are set for a 6-year bull cycle in gold. As I mentioned, I'll be also covering silver because we have seen a huge interest in silver coming back because of the recent breakout in silver prices. Silver has played a catch-up game, but nevertheless, it has come out of the range. I would say it has come out of a big consolidation range, and it is moving higher. Now, which can be seen from this chart. Now, these are the big moves that has happened in silver. If we look at the 2008 crisis, silver initially moved lower below $10 when the crisis started, and we saw it moving higher till $48, which was a very sharp rise. And then it went into a consolidation. It fell. It went into consolidation, and now it has broke out again. In 2020 also we have seen a similar phenomenon. While gold was moving higher, silver came down. It made a low of around $11.5, and from there it has taken off. And recently it has come out of a trend line, and it is sustaining at those levels. So this jump we have seen in just 4 months, and if 2008 is repeated again, then an upside of $35 to $40 can't be ruled out. We feel it might take a pause here because we have seen a sharp move in silver prices. We might see some kind of a corrective dip, which again would be a very good chance to re-enter. Now let's look at what are the drivers of silver. Now, in case of silver, like silver has 60% industrial properties, so silver's move is like gold's move. Silver follows gold's move, and also industrial metals move because it has 60% industrial properties. So that's why we see sometimes a divergence in gold and silver. Gold moves up, but silver doesn't move up. But as it is a precious metal, it has to follow gold. So it might be late in taking off, but it takes off if gold moves higher. So in last 4 months, we have seen a very good recovery in industrial metals. Copper and other industrial metals have gone have moved almost 65-70% from their lows, which was hit in March. And that has supported silver prices, and also the sharp gains in gold prices have supported silver prices. Massive stimulus and a falling dollar, as I mentioned in my earlier slides. Now, which has supported gold, it has also supported silver because silver is again a precious metal, although it has 60% industrial properties, but it normally follows gold. Impact on output due to mine closures and corona pandemic. 2018-2019 we saw output coming slightly lower, and 2020 is expected. There is an expectation that the output might fall sharply because of the mine closures, and that is also supporting the price rise. Strong ETF inflows like gold, even silver ETF inflows have skyrocketed. And gold to silver ratio that is falling like a stone. Like if we see again, I would compare this to 2008, and I'll show you in my next slides how gold and silver ratio is indicating a sharp rise in silver prices. Now, if you look at the investment demand, you can see on the right side how in 2020. The investment demand has exploded. You can see a sharp rise in iShares silver ETF. Now this is a benchmark that we follow. Now as per US iShares ETF data, silver holdings with iShares ETF has seen an inflow of about 5,500 tons so far this year, as against 1,500 tons in 2019. Now, investor interest in silver would remain high, mainly due to the higher gold prices, as both of this metal, they are positively correlated. Now, which can be seen here. If you see this chart, this is since 2006. You can see how gold and silver moves together. Although silver might act little late, but it reacts and it follows gold. Now, if we look at the current scenario, gold started to move up in May 2019 when it broke out of the trend line, and silver has just started to move up in April 2020. And in last 4 months, we have seen around 35% rise in silver prices. So and slowly and steadily, I think it will move close to move close to the to gold prices, like gold price in the sense it might move in tandem with gold prices. So it will play a catch up game, and we expect silver prices will perform, and there is a possibility that it might even outperform looking at the gold silver ratio. Now, this is the gold silver ratio. Now, as I mentioned, gold silver ratio has been falling like a stone. If you look at 2008 financial crisis, the gold silver ratio had reached somewhere around 97, and from there it came down till 32, which was a 67% fall from the highs. Similar thing is happening now also, if you look at the chart. And after making a high near 113, 114, now it is trading close to 80, which shows that silver is outperforming gold. And there is an expectation, if we take around 67% fall that we saw in 2008 financial crisis, we might see that shows that silver might continue to outperform at least for some time, and we might see a sharp rally in silver prices as compared to gold. Now, looking at the technical setup, if we look at the setup, it is very much similar to gold, but it has just the rally has just started. And if we see the chart, we can see that even the RSI break has happened after a consolidation, and we are also seeing a break in the prices. It made identical bottoms, and it has almost penetrated a very long trend line, and it consolidated for some time near 1880, between 1880 and 1650. But then finally it has taken off, and it has tested the initial target of 2620, which is the breakdown point of 2012-2010. If you can see here, this was the breakdown point, and it has already tested those levels, and it has slightly corrected from 2620. So our expectation is that if it moves above this 2620, now this again is a monthly chart, if it moves above 2620, we might see it moving higher till $35-36, which is the next resistance point. On the contrary, if it doesn't go above this 2620, we might see some kind of a consolidation coming in, and we feel $18.50 would be the base now, and any correction towards 22 or 21 might see a good demand coming in, and we might see a re-emergence of buying at those levels. So as it has moved up very sharply, we would expect it to correct for entering into buy again. So either it can be bought on a breakout of 2620, sustenance above this, or if it gives a dip towards $22 or $21, I think that would be a good level to enter again. In Indian terms, we feel 60,000 to 58,000 would become the base now, and any correction towards those levels would be a good level to enter again in silver. And there is an expectation it might move up till 70 to 75,000 also, and it might even go further higher. But we would like to go step by step, because we have earlier also in 2008 we have seen silver rising very sharply and then giving a sharp break. But this time, if you look at the silver rally, we feel that looking at the the international prices near 24, and silver MCX is currently trading close to 66,000. If we take 2008, when it went to $48, silver had moved to 75,000. So because of the rupee depreciation against the dollar, we might see a sharp rise in silver above 75 if it sustains about $26.20, and if it goes to 35, 36, we might easily see prices moving above 80 to 85,000. So the rupee depreciation has propped up MCX silver prices, and if we see a sharp rally in international prices, we might see silver MCX surpassing even 75,000, which was hit in 2008. So now, how one can invest in gold and silver? Now we know that gold and silver might continue the rally, and looking at all the factors, it seems that gold and silver are set to reach new highs. So the question comes is how one can invest in gold and silver. What are the different avenues? So different avenues of gold and silver. In case of gold, we have 4 different types of avenues. One is the physical gold, but physical gold is not advisable from an investment perspective because of its disadvantages, like the storage cost, the storage risk, then the quality risk. Like for example, if you buy gold coins, when you go to sell gold coins, you won't get the full value because making charges and other things will be deducted from it. And also the quality remains a question mark. So physical gold is not a good investment route in case of gold. Gold sovereign bonds are one of the best, but as per the investment goals, if one has an investment goal of say investment horizon of 5 years to 8 years, then sovereign gold bonds is one of the best avenue because it also pays you an interest, and if you hold for the entire 8 years, even the capital gains tax is exempted. So gold sovereign bonds becomes a very attractive proposition, and plus it is guaranteed. It is guaranteed by the Indian government. So this is one of the best. But if the liquidity is the criteria, then gold sovereign bonds doesn't fulfill one's needs, because it doesn't provide that kind of liquidity, because it is not very liquid in the secondary market. So whenever the gold sovereign bonds tranches come, you can invest. But on the secondary market front, the liquidity is not great. So, and if you exit it earlier, then you won't get the benefits like the capital gains tax. But anyways, it is the lock-in period is minimum 5 years. So minimum before 5 years you cannot exit. So liquidity becomes a disadvantage in case of gold sovereign bonds. But the liquidity criteria is met by the derivatives, like trading on the exchange, and gold MFs and ETFs. In case of derivatives, we have different contracts like MCX Gold, which is a 1 kg contract, Gold Mini, and Gold Petal. Gold Petal is attractive for people, traders investors who want to invest in gold and who want to take delivery, because in fact one can also kind of do a systematic investment in Gold Petal. Like every month he can keep buying 1 gram gold, because it is a 1 gram contract, and you can take a delivery of 1 gram. So this is a very good investment route if liquidity is the criteria. And also gold MFs and ETFs are a good avenue, but only thing is you might face some kind of a tracking error in this type of avenues, which you might not see in the derivatives on exchange. But in exchange cases, there are other disadvantages like M2M and other costs. So these are the different avenues in case of gold. The best being gold sovereign bonds, depending on the liquidity criteria. and after that, if the liquidity is the important, if it is the foremost criteria, then one can go for gold MFs, ETFs, or through derivatives from the exchange. In case of silver, unfortunately, we don't have any ETFs or mutual funds. Neither there is any bonds. There are only two avenues. One is the physical silver, and the second is through exchanges. That is derivatives. So in case of derivatives, we have three contracts available on the exchange. One is MCX Silver, which is 30 kg contract. Then we have Silver Mini, which is a 5 kg contract, and then we have Silver Micro, which is a 1 kg contract. So Silver Micro also is a good investment avenue, because one can accumulate in if one has to take a delivery, then one can accumulate in Silver Micro, and because it gives you an option to buy a 1 kg silver, which is not the case in MCX Silver and Silver Mini. Other than that, even one can play the price moves in this commodities like gold and silver in bigger lots through derivatives, because when the market moves on one side, I think the futures contracts becomes very, very viable, and one can trade through this also. Well, that's all in this webinar. I'll take few questions.
Thank you so much, Ravindra. It was really insightful, and I think we all have learned a lot. I'd like to welcome Gurveer Jaiswal. He's our Senior Vice President of Commodities at Kotak Securities. He, along with Ravindra, will be taking up few questions which we've received from our audience today. We welcome you, Gurveer. So the first question is, Ravindra, we are receiving a lot of questions that people are asking, is it the right time to buy gold and silver, considering the short-term and the long-term investments view?
Well, I think from an investment perspective, I would say that there is no good time or bad time for investment in gold. Because when gold was at 40,000, 42,000, that time also I used to get calls from clients whether we should buy at this level. At that time also 42,000 was looking very, very expensive, and at 52,000 level also gold is looking very, very expensive. So what I would say is, from a investment perspective, I think one should start doing SIP through any route. It can be through MCX Gold Petal, or it can be through MFs, or one can keep investing in the tranches of sovereign gold bonds, which now the next tranche will be available somewhere in August. The next tranche is available, which is the fifth tranche. That will be between August 3rd to August 7th. So I think timing the market in case of gold would not be is not advisable. Yes, from a trader's perspective, I would suggest wait for some time, because what happens is in trading you have to face other things like M2M, and futures markets are slightly risky in terms of trading as compared to the actual cash markets. So in case of futures market, I would suggest that let a correction come, because we have seen a sharp increase in gold, silver both, and we might see a correction in case of Indian gold. We might see it coming down to 50,000 odd levels. I think that would be a good demand zone. And in case of silver, as I mentioned, 60,000 to 58,000 would be a good demand zone. So from a trader's perspective, I would advise you wait. From a investment perspective, I would say that start investing, because even if it goes down, you will be investing at lower levels also. It works similar to what equity mutual funds work. So I think through sovereign bonds, through derivative exchanges, through MCX Gold Petal, And through gold MFs or gold ETFs, I think one should start investing through the systematic investment route.
Sure. Thank you. The other question is, should we book 50% profit on gold?
I would always advise to keep booking profits or keep or trailing your stop losses in profits. Stop losses in the sense you can just keep one level. Like for example, if you have bought at 40,000 and now the price is at 52, so say if it goes below 51 or if it goes below 50, that would be my level where I would exit 50%, and if it falls further, I would re-enter. So my advice would be it is better you book some and again re-enter at lower levels, or you can maintain kind of a psychological stop loss, and if it goes below that level, then it is better to exit, or it is better to book profits, I would say, and re-enter again in corrective dips.
Sure. The other question is that what should be considered as a more pragmatic target, where the entire amount deposited in the gold fund via SIP since last 8 years be withdrawn waiting for a fall to reinvest? In short, profit booking basically.
Well, I think the target that I mentioned, like if it moves above say 1975 next month, then there is a chance it might go up till 2100 also. But again, to reinvest, as I mentioned, it is better you can book if you have bought at lower levels, you can book part profit and again reinvest at lower levels, or you can maintain a psychological level below which you will exit half of the position and hold your current investment. And if it goes above 1975, then there is a great chance it might move past $2,000 also. So I think that would be the conservative target in terms of gold.
Sure, thank you. The other question is that is it the right time, since the gold has reached its all-time high? Is there any possibility that it's going to stop now or recess down?
Well, yes, we might see some kind of a correction, but as I mentioned, the trend is still up. I think corrective dip should be used for buying, but that is in case of, I would say, the traders. But in case of the investors who want to invest through gold sovereign bonds or through derivatives, through the delivery route, or in MF or ETFs, I would say that timing should not be the criteria. One should not time the gold market. One should start investing at least. Say in MCX gold petal, you can buy at least 1 gram, say every 2 months or 3 months, and you can take a delivery and you can average it out. Like for example, after 2 months, if it falls, you again buy 1 gram. So this way, if you do a systematic investment in gold, I think there is no need of worrying whether the gold prices will fall or it will rise. It is going to, like, the trend is up, so we expect that the prices might go up. Even if it corrects, I think that would be a good level to re-enter. So my belief is that one should not wait whether it is at a high or whether it is at a low. Keep buying at every dips and keep investing. From a trader perspective, I think we can wait for some time because it is at a very high level, and at lower levels you can buy it for trading.
So the audience wants to know your view whether we should be positional on gold or we should just consider stop loss.
Well, I think it's a positional view because the charts which I have shown, those are all monthly charts, and we have seen breakouts in monthly charts. So we feel that gold is going to perform, and the cycle chart that I had shown, gold cycle chart, I think if the history repeats, then we are set for a 6-year bull cycle in gold. So I think this is a positional view, and and one should not mix positional view with the trading. As I mentioned, from a trader's perspective, keep investing at dips also, and from a trader's perspective, I think some dips is possible, and that should be used as a entry again.
Thank you. That was helpful. The other question is, from 1 to 2 years of perspective, what are your views on gold MFs?
See, gold MFs is gold MF view would be same what as the gold price view, because gold MFs is a, I would say, it takes the gold prices. So I think if we are bullish on gold, the gold MF prices are also going to go up. But as I mentioned, gold in MFs we see some kind of a tracking error, so the price transparency is slightly lacking, which is possible when you trade on the exchange through smaller denominated gold contracts if you want to take delivery. So even MFs, if gold prices are going to go higher, even the mutual fund gold through gold funds, that is going to go up, because finally the underlying is gold. So whatever happens to gold, that is going to happen to the MFs also. Like the NAV is going to drop or it is going to increase as per the gold's move.
Sure, thanks. The other question is, what are your views on copper?
Have seen a sharp rally, but we see this rally being more liquidity driven and more of uncertainty because of the closure of mines. So if the virus situation subsides, there is a chance the mines might again reopen, and we might see the output again coming in. So some profit taking is possible. But in case of copper, I think 6,600 would hold on the LME, would hold very strong. If that is taken out, we might see further upside, or else we might see a consolidation. In terms of Indian market, it should be somewhere between 520 to 460, the consolidation range.
Thank you. The other question is it advisable to stay in SGB for 5 years, or should I exit before 5 years and book profit?
No, there is a minimum lock-in period of 5 years, so you cannot exit before 5 years. So that's why I mentioned that SGBs are good if one's investment goals or investment horizon is longer, say 5 to 8 years. If the investment horizon is say 1 or 2 years, then MCX Gold Petal or your MFs or ETFs are better.
So the other question is, how much percentage we should invest in metal if you're considering asset allocation?
Metals, I'm taking this as gold. Okay, I'm not taking it as industrial metals, because industrial metal investment as of now is not possible, because in futures market it becomes a bit difficult for investment. In case of gold, I would suggest anywhere between 15% is a good allocation. Now that can even be increased slightly to 20%, but I think anything between 15 to 20% is a good allocation.
Okay. So this is something very interesting. I don't know if it's even related or not. Is copper bound to shoot up due to electrical cars?
Well, yes, there are actually two school of thoughts. One says that the copper consumption in electric cars might increase 3 to 4 folds when electric cars actually hits the markets. But I think I had spoken to a few of the manufacturers, and they say that that is slightly optimistic, that 4 to 5 times copper might be used. It might not be that much, but yes, because of that, because of electric cars, we might see a prop up in copper prices and in nickel prices also. But this will take a long time. It is not that just the news that copper will be used more in electric cars is going to hit copper price, because 3-4 years earlier also there was a news when nickel prices were shooting up, that because of the electric cars the nickel prices are going higher, but then we saw a sharp fall in nickel prices. So I think this is a long-term phenomenon and it will take time, but yes, this is going to support copper and nickel prices.
Sure. So the other question is, what are your views on zinc price over short and medium term?
Zinc prices, I think zinc prices are also looking slightly positive. We feel on the LME, we might see another $150 to $200 on the upside. 2180 would be an ideal support. If it goes below that, we might see zinc prices moving lower. Or else, I think zinc prices are set to move slightly higher by another $200. Kritika, can we just stick to gold and silver if possible, because this can be this becomes little off topic.
Yeah, right. So the other question is, since the gold is overbought currently, are there chances of correction in the silver prices?
Well, if we look at gold and silver, if we look at both prices, gold is very much in the overbought, but silver is not. Silver has, just as I showed in the chart, if you look at the chart here, RSI is still below 70, and I would consider anything above 80 as overbought. And in case of gold, it is already above 80. And as I showed the gold silver ratio, there is a chance that silver might move up, gold might take a pause, and we might see gold silver ratio coming to say 70 or 65 odd. So if I purely look at the overbought zones, I would not agree with this, because gold might take a pause, but silver is set for more higher levels. And it is not necessary that if the market is in overbought, it is set to fall, because I have seen multi-year prices remaining in overbought zone, and it doesn't fall. So it is not the ideal criteria. We have to look at many other factors also.
Sure, thank you. So I think I'll just take one last question.
Yeah.
So this is one of the interesting questions. It says that why gold has no MRP, and if the price around the world sell gold, and if the people around the world sell gold at the current high price, will LME buy? Do they even have so much of money to pay?
This is irrelevant. Actually, I didn't understand the question at all. Why LME is into the picture?
Okay. I'll just take one more question. So I think we have covered most of the questions related to gold and silver.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that was a very insightful session. We have covered everything almost related to gold and silver, and I think we all have a certain amount of clarity now, when to invest, how to invest. Thanks a lot for all the clarity and the valuable insights you offered.
Thank you, Kritika. Thank you all. Thank you once again. And it was actually good to deliver this webinar, because it becomes very insightful for the clients also, because gold is something which people want to invest, but they don't understand how to invest. So I think if we keep doing such webinars, I think that will be a knowledge addition, and it feels good for us also that we are giving away our knowledge to our clients. Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take care. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks to the audience as well. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gurveer. Thank you.